And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to EU League. It is our second match out of the 5 of today. Rogue versus Team Empire. Team Empire, of course, having performed so well on LAN, and Rogue that actually have had a bit of a burst of energy, and I love to see it. Welcome back again. I'm Milosh. With me are Jess and Fresh. Now that we have a chat about these two squads, first up with Team Empire. Fresh, this squad, they are looking so hot to hold the top 4 and go beyond.
They are looking hot indeed, although the past couple of play days they've struggled, and we've talked extensively about them on LAN, offline, online. They've got the quality. They play on a ping disadvantage, you would say, a lot of the time. It makes them a little bit slower. They've talked about it at length, but this squad has all the quality. Obviously, the most recently the finalists of the Mexico Major.
Also, as well, it's been a bit of a topsy-turvy for them player-wise. Like people who stood up at the Mexico Major now having a bit of a downer of a stage. I mean, other players being able to step up. It shows holistically they're a good roster. It's just people not adapting to the online-offline phase. Yeah.
LAN team, that's what it goes. Rogue on the other side have not seen the distant courses of a LAN for so long.
God,
what is it?
I'm literally looking at the
SI 2020. Rogue were there. They didn't make it out of groups, and they were slated to have a public interview signing at the actual venue that they didn't attend, and somebody took a picture of it. I think that was Tapis de Douche, and it was absolutely hilarious. Though,
and they left early and everything.
Yes. Can they make it forward? That was old Rogue.
Well, they did have a change. For those who don't understand, we have been begging Rogue 4 stages to bring in a support player, an IGL that will help assist them to greatness. And then they said, we're bringing in Prano. And I was like, that is not what we asked for, but okay.
They brought in a player who can do it, right? But it's not necessarily his strengths, you would say.
Maybe. Look, turns out he can do it. I doubted it. Ate my words. I'm very hungry right now. Would love to eat them again. So it's been pretty good for the Rogue roster so far. 1 win in overtime, 1 outright win, no losses, hitting 2nd place so far.
Same as Team Empire in this case. So very excited to see how this goes. Our head-to-head, you guys picked one player out of each one of these 2 teams. So which are they? We're talking about roles and who fills what, and it's Leon and Joystick. Fresh, can you help me out here?
Yeah, so we picked these 2 as the head-to-head because they're not necessarily the star man of their team anymore. So, for example, Rogue, you'd maybe say it was Aces or somebody else. Joystick, for Empire, you'd say it's possibly Dan that's kind of taking the lead. But these 2 are there when those star players aren't. Leon, he came in clutch in the last game. Joystick's had a relatively disappointing season, and you can see that with his EPP, his KD is -9, no opening kills, and, you know, the survival rate, again, is not particularly great, although he does survive slightly more than Leon. But we know Joystick has an abundance of talent. We've seen that longevity throughout the past 2 years, maybe more.
Yeah, the survival rating is the really big thing. You guys see it as round count there, whereas we usually talk about in percentile. So let me give you the percentile. Leon Gids has a survival rate of 20% of the rounds he plays, whereas Joystick survives 22% of the rounds. And, well, because you're a gunner, I suppose you can say that that's okay. Like saying a support player is allowed to have a pretty poor KD, but...
You'd expect them to die, so you'd expect a low survival rate. But I think Joystick being so far negative so far this season, they need to get Empire in if Empire are going to have a good split.
No, Mr. Fresh, I expect you to die.
What reference is that? Oh, yeah, there we go. When you did that, I got it.
Every villain in the...
Lucas shooting evils right now.
I was going to say, she's like the movie buff, so I try not to compete with that.
So let's see which map we're going to be on. Which movie will be played today? Let's go. Join us in 7-map pool. 6 are out, 1 is left, and it's Clubhouse, where Empire start off on the defense despite picking up. So Rogue went for an attacking start on here. Very quickly, our lobby is ready. Jess, your thoughts?
This has to be an Empire win just based off the past 5 times they've played it. One of their highest win rates out of all of their maps, where if you look at a Rogue, they've got a 50-50 on it, but it's one of their favorites to go to.
Yeah, this map is absolutely no surprise. Stage 1, Empire and Rogue play Clubhouse. Stage 2, Empire and Rogue play Clubhouse.
Okay.
Stage 3, they're going to play Clubhouse again.
There you go.
Will it be any different than what we've had before is the question. Of course, changes to the map, operators, and all. Curious to see. We talked about Clubhouse earlier today.
Prano.
Will there be a bar play? Will there be Prano? I am very excited for it. Fresh Chess, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, Rogue versus Team Empire goes to Clubhouse. We're off to Hanover. We've got M and Mr. Happ to take us through it. Enjoy.
Yes, it's M and Mr. Hap. I don't get a title. I haven't married yet, but Hap has.
Apparently I have.
We'll see that later. But first we have Clubhouse, and we have Rogue versus Empire. And we saw quite a good Rogue of this very recently, and it was mainly built behind Aces and Leon, who were so aggressive. They were literally just taking any and every single fight, and that really, for a lot of people, took them the map last week.
See, yes, they did improve over the start of Stage 3. However, I am a bit worried because when I start thinking back of what happened to Rogue recently, back in Stage 2, when they were playing this map, they would just not drone. They would just be caught off guard by players just hiding around the corners whilst they were shooting default cams or trying to go for a quick wallbang. Not checking the stairs next to them. So those are some small things we can instantly, notice from whether or not Rogue indeed will stay on that positive course towards, well, away from relegations, we have to say, instead of towards.
That's it. It's great energy, and whether it's, specifically because of the roster changes that they've made, or whether it's just the conversations that they've had behind the scenes, they were a tumultuous roster for a while. Yeah. Because they were top of the top. They were the top dogs after their initial changes. Then things went as wrong as they possibly could. They survived, but they are nowhere near what they once were for that period of time. Since then, they've had changes, obviously, on the roster multiple times. Since then, they've also had changes behind the scenes, probably most importantly. And they're looking to see if they can bring that into effect, because it's one of those queries about this game is on paper, there's a lot that could work. But unfortunately, recently, what we've seen on game day, it hasn't quite connected.
Yeah, for sure. And now we will have to wait and see whether or not Rogue will beat up their cameras again 7 times this matchup, or if Empire is going to be able to get the 7 rounds and take the win. Overtime, of course, still on the board. Either way, end of the band phase. Very, Maverick, pretty usual. Hibana, also quite usual.
I mean, I know
the bends.
I quite like every time is it's been said that this is the toughest attacker lineup with these bans.
It's for sure.
On Club.
The only thing you could really otherwise say is maybe the Maverick way instead of a Thatcher, because, you might be able to trick quite a bit with the EMPs, especially if it's a mute that is being played. I'm not quite sure what side we will go through. I would assume CCTV cache first, but we might just be tracked there as well. But yeah, actually Church Arsenal, there we go, bottom floor.
Bottom floor, start it up, limit the hard destruction, see what happens here. Now, I said that actually, I misquoted myself. The hardest one it was quoted as is when it's Thatcher and Maverick.
Exactly.
But still, Hibana and Maverick, it's still very tricky. You're limiting yourself towards a lot of this flat destruction. Selmas aren't going to be anywhere near as effective if you're going for those side angles. You assume with Thatcher on the board, you're not really going to see too much in terms of potential of holding onto those walls, because you expect walls to fall. The hatches on this site are going to be the ones that are going to be a bit trickier now, and they're going for quite a tall hold here.
Yeah, for sure. And one thing you would normally say is, okay, well, Thatcher is on the board, but you have the opportunity still to try and trick. Banner trick, for example, not really that, prominent here on the current site we're at. We might have the opportunity to use the Cade with the Electro Claws to try and keep that hatch closed. You might not be able to do it on the first try, but you at least waste 2 of the EMPs, which means you can keep the other hatches closed in that case. But then you have the Ace on Aces, ironically speaking, who can just open up, even though if it's electrified when dirt's being opened up.
Look at this pace. They're making sure they can try and put as much pressure in immediately. Aces is going to go for the hatch here, going to see if he can sneak open, and there it is, dropped. Concerned about the potential hold above. They are trying to rush this site. They've realized a lot of Empire is off, and the berry through blue has come through, and look at that, instantly flood their way through. Leon gets the opener and bleeds their way to the back. Prano's going to see if he can stick it behind the artillery box there on the far corner as Rips keeps the cover. Perfect read of, well, they're not here, so we are now. We've had the plant within the opening minute. They're able to pick them up on the return round to the side. It's a 4 versus 2, and Empire have entirely been caught here in the spray through. Dan is able to find one back. You assume it's at the bottom of the main stairs. There's always, bringing it into a bit of a balance. I know it was above the kitchen hatch, actually. He's looking to see if he can find a clean drop here. The separation comes through. Prano gets the pick up on the far side. They know where he is. There's about 20 seconds for him to see if he can dig his way through here. Finds his way behind the A case. He's going to see if he can hold it for a buzz and just try and pull out the fight. But Prano locks it off, and Rogue saw an opportunity, and boy, did they take it.
Yeah, very good first round here from them. Basically already better than, well, the small mistakes we've been seeing from them in Stage 2 on said map, Clubhouse. First one on the board. That's one attack that they already did manage to win, and Empire will instantly go up to the gym and bedroom. They're continuing the rotation and not trying to go for, you know, the same site twice in a row, run it back, as some would say. And then Amira's coming out, again the mute, so, you know, considering the fact that it is quite difficult, as the 6-pick was attempted but a bit too late, it is a bit dangerous to try and bend a trick here because of the way, you know, the highway windows in that location, you can be shot easily from that. So we'd need a Rooney gate together with some castle barricades if you really want to be locking that one off. And then even then you're not confirmed to make sure it stays close. And there would be 3 operators literally pointed only up to the jacuzzi wall to try and keep it close. And then it's not even sure yet.
Bit of a rude awakening there for Empire, a bit of a sort of shake awake into the game there. They brought it back to a 2 versus 2, but unfortunately with how isolated they were and the drops that they had to make, it was sort of cards in Rogue's favor. And you got to give credit there for the call, the IGL to ever say, listen, this is the opportunity, let's take it. Let's see if we can shut them down before they finish setting themselves up. Here, you know, you're not having as extended a hold. You're sort of stretching yourself across CC, but by the time that Rogue are finally arriving there, everything should be in place. You're not going to have them just blitz their way through onto site as they did before, but still, that energy, the way they've hit the boards and they're going to keep running, I'm curious to see just how far that can get Rogue.
Now we're going to also see whether or not Empire is going to be able to put up the same pace with that mirror window, the same strength rather, with that mirror window as Leon Gids was able to do in one of his previous games. Managed to get a triple kill down onto the balcony every single time as Clemmer is being set down for that hatch. Joystick will be well aware and potentially not rotate out there anymore, as the rest of Rogue is trying to set themselves up. Verticals are being created. This, of course, works both ways, so Leon is just going to be trying to hold on to it. Put some extra pressure down onto the bathroom. Shepard not really feeling safe, and that's a mirror window that is suddenly vulnerable.
That's it, and that mirror window is so powerful. Shepard's able to respond, though, and Leon just couldn't catch it. There's still that angle underneath that can cause some problems, but a very necessary and great bit of bloodshed there from Empire. Can they keep a sturdy hold here as Cryan steadily trying to replace the man in the mantle inside? They're going to see if they can catch them with the grenade just under. But unfortunately, they're not quite in the same range, and Shepard, he's not going to stick around. They're still trying to find angles. You can see they're being a bit curious about it, but at this point, with the body that's no longer there, they've forced them out. They've just found the canister after a little bit of back and forth. Dan had one last look there to see if he could get the fight, but with that open, it means that that jacuzzi hold is very dangerous, and they can start trying to put the pressure on the opposite side behind construction.
Yeah, this also allows them to use those Selmas in different positions as they're no longer needed to be put down onto the mirror window. You have to be careful, though. There is still that presence inside the construction, potentially even further as Cryan is looking to make his way up to the main stairs. Use both as his grenades. The camera is down, however. Just needs to find a bit of an entry as Rips is trying to hold off to the mirror window. Knows one just passed, spots the backpack there as well. But the kills are not coming in yet.
A minute on, they've done a lot of destruction on the site, but not being able to push any of these Empire players out. They still feel quite confident with the holds. They've got Scyther, can apply this pressure from CC. They've got Joystick on the rotation in the middle, and there it is. Finally, they fight their way through multiple players. Now it is just this backline, and they're trying to spray their way through fervently. Joystick and Scyther, the 2 players I said could be a bit of a back hold.
Joystick.
They take the front, they take the aggression, and they take 3 very necessary kills. Now it's just Cryan. Dropped in on logistics, trying to creep his way back round. The 2 are isolated enough to the side. They want to try and get just a call, a bit of a swing, a bit of intel. There it is on the door, though. Joystick is just around the corner. He's holding firm. The angle is a bit wider from the Aruni. There's the spray, there's the lock-off, and there is Empire biting back.
Joystick with a very crucial set of kills there, making sure the cover was down and the diffuser was dropped as well. Made sure that they had to go on a recovery tour, and well, in that moment, Cryan was in a 1v2 situation, so well played by them. Otherwise, that could have been a secondary Rogue round on the board here. Mirror window, of course, was in logistics, under control of the Rogue members in that case as well, but had no clue that they would be falling back that far. Now Church Arsenal again. Empire seems to be avoiding CCTV cache for now. Of course, they were there shortly in terms of their extension, but that's about it. So back to the bottom floor we go. Similar setup coming down yet once more from Rogue, so not really any changes up there. So you're not really going to be catching them off guard there. Just have to edit their plan of approach, which of course shortly will be done as soon as they find out where they are, which will most likely be confirmed on the back of the hatches and the dirt tunnel being reinforced.
Now, the explosive execute that happened onto the site there, that's sort of twice in a row that Rogue has been able to take the site control, take out those 3 core players on the back line and kind of punish the hold that Empire's doing, it was a valiant retake and attempt. The swing there from Joystick on that construction door was what brought them back into the round, and doubled up with the support there and the hold on CC. They had no choice. They had to go for a retake, and they played it very well. They didn't try and flood themselves back into a site where they'd already lost 3 bodies, but it does raise this question of how are Rogue able to strike at the heart twice in a row? And are we going to see that become a continuing theme here, where those sort of outside players from Empire are the ones that have to do a lot of the heavy lifting?
It's definitely problematic if it continues happening, because that means there is something in the anchor game that is being dismantled quickly by Rogue, and as Empire really do not want to see that happen again. If we do see a very tall hold yet again, CCTV has been reinforced also. We do see players all the way up there from the side of Empire just to slow them down. It's going to be the mute jammers as well that will make sure that information gathering is going to be a little bit slower, and as a result, you want to make sure that it just takes a long time before Rogue is going to be able to get all the information to set up for their strike, because as you just said, they managed to strike into the site very quickly, very effectively, and that is something that needs to be stopped by Empire.
Well, Leon's been able to slip round the back of Joystick and just past the eye from above inside Cash. So, can they do anything with this position they've been able to tuck themselves in? Because the longer they sit there, the more likely that is to become a problem later on down the line. It's pre-placing, yet again, the Claymore on the top, and actually, look at this, Empire's gone, no, we feel that pressure, we feel that heat coming onto our anchor players, onto our site again. We're going to make sure that they have some support, always as the only man still standing on the row, and to be fair, that's a good position and situation for him to be in. If he can strike a little bit later on, when things are potentially more dangerous for Rogue to be crippled from behind, it could be monumental, and now there's less expectation of the site entirely being overwhelmed.
So it's important if you still have that one flank option available to you, and with more time dwindling down, it becomes even more important always, that is, as the time slowly ticks through. The drones are coming in. The hatches have been opened up, I believe, in the kitchen and the motorcycle. Dirt will be opened up as well, so you can only try and start imagining. Actually, no, it hasn't been opened up yet. Prana only just going for it now with his second exothermic. It was blue that he opened up before. So every hatch has been opened up. Dirt has been opened up as well. And this is what they have to make do with, as Aces is looking to make his way down to new blue.
As the pings come through, he saw the angle, he knows the pressure's there, but it's still that rotation down red that slowly is starting to come to fruition. The first falls. It's a Rogue player that gets caught. There it is. Swings around the back. I said it could be a vicious bite, and he's made sure that it counts with all the venom that can be offered on somebody being taken out with only 40 seconds left. Rogue are put in this tricky situation. Do we try and throw ourselves into the site, or do we try and play a little bit of focus towards that pressure that comes behind them? They've got to dig through, though. 30 seconds. They've still got a Rooney Gate in the first fight that's going to happen on where they placed before, and it goes Cryan's way. A great take there. He doesn't quite have the angle and momentum to swing all the way around. They still have the control of blue. The spray comes on the second box, though. Joystick locks it off. Now down the core of the corridor, it just leaves Prano on pipes left alone. They're all over the shop. One on the backside of Church drops. They'll get that call instantly. 12 seconds. The second fight happens. Can't go through the gate without dying. Slowed, burned, and buried away as in this final 5 seconds. With 3 more bodies, we find ourselves Empire serving themselves up their second round.
Indeed, we'll be able to pick up that second round. Good waste of time here. The flank coming at the exact right moment as well. Just able to pick up that one singular body. Really coming in big there. Turning it into a 5-on-3 situation where Empire have the man advantage onto the side. And now, 1-2, Empire in the lead. And Rogue, who managed to strike quickly towards the side and into the corridor side in the first 2 rounds, were not able to quite do so at all this time. CCTV cache will finally be used here by Empire, as they do not really have another choice. The only other choice would be bar end stage, which does see a little bit more play coming out now since the site has been changed. Very happy about that personally. Feels like the crusade has succeeded.
All the posters you put up.
All the posters I put up
everything.
At the UBHQ, they finally managed to make it a bit more viable by just changing the bump site.
Just change it. Yeah, bar and stage. It's had a little bit of a change.
Hope we'll see it more today.
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice.
I haven't casted it yet, actually.
Haven't you?
No, I don't think I have.
Oh. It might come, it might happen. Either way, they've opted to head up to CC. They've opted to try and take this site, which once upon a time was that initial site for a lot of teams, and then it sort of fell a bit out of favor. It became this often third choice because it became so formulaic in how the attackers could take control. It was very well played, step for step, and well, they're going to see if they can throw anything out of there as they prep for this run-out pressure.
Prepper's ready. Drone was spotted as well. Always was following it on the default cam. Knows that they're very strict about that side. They know exactly where they're going to be coming from, and he's going to try and make a bit of a pre-place. He has a revolver out. I'm wondering if he's trying to make a hole somewhere. Not quite sure either way. The mirror window is being set up, and some of you might wonder, why are you putting a mirror window on that position? But it allows you to get a C4, potentially impact nades through, as soon as they want to open up on that side with an extra thermic. So that way you do stop any of the further... Oh, that's Leon gets very in quickly.
I was about to say, the power position was being held here on Lounge. They had the mirror window pointing out towards the bottom. It's this swing that might happen just on the door. You can see Joystick is toying with the idea. He might not know that somebody's already in. That's the problem. He's watching the window. If he tries to slip past, the pressure from Aces is the one that's going to stop him being able to quite get there. They need to open up this back wall. If they can try and unroot Joystick from behind that motorcycle, he's either got to try and take the fight inside Lounge, or he's got to try and take the fight through the big opener. Either way, it's not easy, it's not comfortable, and that is what Rogue are trying to formulate right now. They have their positions, but the longer that they take to get this locked down, the more likely things are to slightly slip away from them when it comes time to pressure the site itself.
Very smart play there. Always managed to pick up the Electroclaw after the defense line on the main wall has been shot. Now decided to just toss it over all the way. Is he going to get this again? That's going to be a very big one if he does. Might not become... Oh, actually the EMP came through, so that is not going to be working out. But, you know, just quickly toss the Electroclaw through the lines of sight and stop the Selmas from opening up as Skrine opens up the round.
There it is. As I said, as soon as that wall got popped open, Joystick had a very tough choice to make, and most of them would probably have ended up in anybody's death. Here, though, it's still a lot of time that's been wasted, a lot of time that's been pushed away from them. Always has the power position and the place up on the top of the rafters. They're going to try and get him out next. They have the grenades, they have the capabilities, but the concern of Dan, a bit loose, playing around the billiards, wants to try and apply some pressure back onto the backside of this take. Opens the window, that'll give the game away, but he has a lot of choice to rotate. Here, the pressure starts to explode on the site. Rafters has fallen into their favor. Dan rotates via the newly opened door on the side of Bar and is going to try and catch, I believe, Rips on the loose side, but doesn't quite have the confidence of the angle.
See, this is the danger. As soon as you lose this position and you lose control of the direct side, that means they have the opportunity of just going in and heading in for a plant here. And as Skrine is doing that job with the sledgehammer, starting to open up left and right, there's going to be some jump outs to put up some extra pressure, but it's probably not going to be helping too much. One of the smoke canisters will be tossed out. There comes the plant very soon. Aces needs to dig in quite deep. Shepard has a good opportunity and a nitro in his hand, but he gets taken out. It's only Dan now from below that can maybe do something about it, but he doesn't have any utility, and it's a 1v5.
Well, they're holding the angle, they're swinging up the stairs, but it doesn't get much further than that. Rogue with a flawless. The take, as I said, it can often be described, a CC take, as being formulaic because everybody sort of knows what's going to happen next. And everyone tries ways to shake that mold, but although Rogue might have been a little bit pressured for time when those smoke canisters started to pop over the top, they made sure that what they had, they made it work. And they pushed themselves through to their second round. Gym Bedroom is where we battle back. And to be fair, this one was also quite a close one coming down.
It was.
To 2 versus 4.
Yeah, and Joystick picking up that important double kill at the start of the planting timer, making sure that the round was completely being shaken up there. But as you said, yeah, previous side is basically a step-by-step plan. You get a line of sight onto the CCTV wall, then you take control of the garage and you create yourself a rotation into the server stack. After that, you just waste the utility. You can go for the plant. So the faster you are, the more chance of success you have. This one, a little bit different though. There's still multiple takes. It was often the third tree bomb side actually for many of these teams, whereas Empire treats us at the well, primary or secondary, you would dare to say. So, there is going to be the same extension again. We see some prismas being set up on the red stairs on the back. Also the reinforcements again to come in to stop any quick push from the CCTV side. You might be thinking, well, they can just open those up. Yes, indeed they can, but that will cost them an extra thermic or a Selma. And that means that that's one less piece of hard destruction they can work with to eventually push that jacuzzi wall and potentially the bathroom if that manages to stay close. Because as you notice, there is not going to be a mirror window on it this time, which makes it not as worth to go from below and just open up the hole as a result.
Joystick just got sprayed through. I think that might have been there. There it is.
Oh, yeah.
From the window, Ace on... Well, Ace is on Ace. It's the one that was the quick fire pressure here, and they're going for an alternate take. They're going across the opposite side here. They're able to do the work that it needs to underneath before, and this time they're like, well, let's shake it up a little. Oh, and they lose that first fight. Scyther, big, bold, and able to drop that early body, and that's a big loss. Cryan has been a bit of a force for Rogue this game, and he doesn't always get that ability to show up, so anything removed right now from Rogue is definitely a big asset for Empire.
Definitely indeed. It must have been a bit of information. There's almost no way he just swung that confidently there. Well, there is going to be more Selmas to pop off to create some extra rotations, but in the meantime, they do have a lot of control still on the side of Empire. Dan picks up another kill. Leon Gids will go down, and yet Cash is not under control here for Rogue as they try and, well, dig out these two players inside of it.
This time they sort of threw themselves into the bigger, bolder take here. They thought they'd be able to break it through, but so far Empire sort of said, well, this is why we've got things set up as we do. They find a body, but a triple kill for Scyther. Well, he has claimed all of the CCTV angles and the cash room itself, and he's making sure that Rogue did not have an easy way through. I get it. Try something different. Hopefully they've changed attack and thought that maybe there'll be more pressure they've got to hold underneath. And to be fair, Dan was down there this time.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they threw the rest of the take elsewhere, and it just did not connect, unfortunately for them. 2-2, a lot of time to have a conversation here, and a lot of time to try and bring things back together. That's what this is. It's unofficial.
It's a 90-second timeout. That is really what it is. You saw Prana also laugh as soon as he was the last one alive. It's not normally something you would expect, but it's of course all right, everybody's dead. We're just gonna take a break now. Just gonna drone drive around with my little drone, try and get some information out. But he's not gonna be acting too much upon it, maybe, or potentially rather. They're using this time to really get their defense side maybe sorted. Not quite sure. It's gonna be coming on in about the next not the next round, but the run after. So. There is still a bit to play for. One more attack would be very great if they manage to pick that one up. But of course, not too much pressure coming down. 30 seconds, he's just running around. There's not much he can do. Probably this is mute gemmed as well. Yeah, yep. So he's going to have to pick up the exothermic again. Oh no, you might actually go highway to shoot the mute gemmer and then detonate it and then quickly drop down to the ground because Scyther is ready to just... there we go. Oh. A lot of damage being done. Pistol, all right. Scyther's going to go for it, trying to get the one tap here. He's not going to be allowed to give it though. Prano just wanting to get that kill. More Renator coming in from either side. And the timing is going to be running out. 5 seconds. It was a 1 minute and 30. Tactical timeout from Rogue. Prano does finally drop though.
He seemed devastated by how he died in that situation.
Yeah, very devastated. Tough. It was unfortunate. It was so winnable, that round right there. That if he would have just landed that shot, it would have been the Rogue round.
Everything would have came together. Okay. Yeah, and as you said, Rogue, they've got a good mantle of energy here. They could try and throw themselves into 3-3. They could put themselves on a pretty good balance. How they've been able to play this game has been great so far. Yep. I think, that round I don't think was it the fault of the energy that they're bringing, but it was that they tried a different take and it didn't quite work. You had Empire's full defense, I think, at that stretch, and it was just a bit too sharp and a bit too well coordinated. And... I guess the minute timeout could have been time to talk about that and how they might be able to throw themselves into this final round. But still, as you can see from the player cams, the vibes, the energy, it's high. They know that they've been able to put a good bout of pressure here against a team that for Rogue is, I guess any team is a team to beat because they need the points quite desperately.
They do.
But... it's Empire who
still
had...
a top 2 team for Europe.
Top 2 team for Europe, a fantastic performance at Mexico, finalists... and yet they haven't had the strongest start to this split. So this was a great opportunity for Rogue.
That's it, right? Empire doesn't necessarily have the strongest of starts to splits, especially not when they just played LAN. You saw it after the 6th Invitational with Stage 2. You see it now, even though they did manage to pick up the rounds now in the games early on, which give them a little bit more breathing space. But they want to go off flying again. Want to make sure that they go up to the November Major and, of course, go up to the 6th Invitational 2022, as that is something they have the opportunity to secure themselves for. Of course, it's still on the table of Rogue as well. Just need to go to the Major, get a bit of a good result there, and they should be able to potentially make it to SI.
All the way back around to the top as they go for a taller take here against the potential of the taller hold. They're going to see if they can bait out the fights that they've otherwise generally avoided. We haven't seen Rogue try and take the pressure onto the top floor, and this is a first for them, but it's also a first that we haven't seen Empire have an instant presence on that top floor. They've actually pulled themselves further down, further away, And this is sort of all time that's coming together. Aces, in the meantime, is going to make sure that things connect as they start to bury their way down via dirt. Joystick is the only loose thread, but they don't seem that interested in pulling him just yet.
Not for now. Just letting him be as Leon Gids quickly taking the CCTV and cache control here. They still need to work themselves down to that basement, but you know, the quicker you are with taking this top floor, make sure there is no roamer this time, the quicker you are going to be able to hit that side with full confidence. It's just a bit of a worry though, because there has been some verticals created all the way up towards logistics. So once logistics gets cleared out, there's no way that we see that thermite going in to open up that hatch.
Well, now Leon knows he's about to potentially approach the first fight here, as they've done on the clearing elsewhere. Joystick's just going to hold. Looks like they're waiting for some of the cover and support, and it's going to come from the swing onto the stock door, dabbling with danger. Joystick gets the first, is going to flee before the second can get the lockdown. Aces was hot on the heels. They forced him into a tricky situation, but yet again, they've unfortunately lost that opening engagement and lost another rogue body.
Yeah, at that time, Aces wasn't really in a position yet where he was allowed to go on full chase mode, because still has to sell what's available to him. Very important, especially in this current moment. They want to open up triple wall. They need to get an AD EMP up there. Rips exactly does that, and that means they're trying to push him, but the impact might have just gotten them all. Yes, indeed, they have, as it's a trade on the other side of the map.
Yeah, blow for blow, both bodies are gone. That still works in the favor here of Empire, obviously, when they've been able to take out another bit of hard destruction and another bit of a gun that could be used in this 4 versus 3 push. 40 seconds, and Rogue's trying to formulate a way that they might be able to just pull a bit of ground away from it, but it's a hold and a swing aside. The Joystick with a lock-off on the other side. One more for good measure, and Empire put themselves on the 4-2 balance with a really good bout of energy and control just before the turn of the half.
Yeah, that is going to be definitely helping them here, because Rogue had a very good start to that first half. Maybe able to pick up 2 in the first 4 rounds. Was definitely looking good, especially considering the attack, of course, is hindered just a little bit with the ban of the Hibana and, of course, the Maverick as well. Of course, the Thatcher gives you an easy way around it, most likely, and yes, indeed, will be brought by Empire as well, unless for some reason they decide to 6-pick it out, but I don't just see that happen. 1, 2, 3. As we're heading down to CCTV cache as the first side for Rogue, we do also realize that that was the side that Empire did not want to go to, but had to go to at some point because they won the other 2. So it is Rogue to show now that this side can indeed be very, very beneficial for them, and indeed winnable on the back of denying information, denying utility, and of course presence and map control.
I like that they were showing the Prime thing, but I thought it was going to be the Hibana skin. I was going to be like, ooh.
That is
looks so good.
I think 2 days from now.
Yeah,
it goes live.
I'm assuming it's
the Fragment.
Honestly,
called, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's Fragment or Fragmentix. I know that that's the full tag.
You know what?
Either way,
check it now.
Whatever the tag is, amazing skin. We had the Sao Siege one before, which was stunning, graceful, beautiful Kavera. And now we have
Sunstark as well.
Sunstark.
Yeah.
And now we have amazing Hibana.
Yeah, it's a Hibana. It's
love these communities.
It's Fragment. Fragmentix is the Twitter tag.
Fragmentix is the Twitter tag,
operator
Fragment.
yeah,
amazing.
It's great. You should really check it out. It's available in 2 days. That's when you can claim it.
Stunning.
Every Hibana main will be running that one.
And it works really well with the Elite as well. And they even did an illustration of it. They were like, oh yeah, don't worry, I had that in mind. Of the helmet with the Elite skin.
Yeah, because you can combine them now since the new patch. So that is also a very great new feature we have. Either way, let's see how this defensive round of Rogue will go. If Empire is going to be successful at their first attack as well, maybe not at the same pace that Rogue managed to put up down into that basement, but maybe with a bit more precision and discipline, something we are used to be seeing from Empire so much, to do everything they do so well, and that is really their strength.
So what I talked about the last time that they were in club was one of the reasons that Rogue is so strong was that Dream Team performance between Leon and Aces. And here, they haven't quite been able to have that connection, but to be fair, a lot of that started to light up when they were on their defense. Leon is in a very tricky situation as everything is exploding. He does not escape.
A second grenade?
Second grenade. They doubled down. They had 2 of the grenades come out from the other side. There was the pressure with the opening hole. He really had nowhere else to go. If I'm going to talk about how Joystick was between a rock and a hard place, Leon was between a rock, a hard place, a grenade, another grenade, a gun, and a small fire. So, yeah, things weren't easy. Reopens the Aruna Gate on the door of Garage and trying to hold on for as long as possible with those ADS to offer some support.
Yeah, good use of utility there from the side of Empire to open up the main wall. Now the second part of the push needs to come down. That is going to be the Raptors' control, but there's still a bit of presence down below near VIP. Shepard will open up with the help of another EMP. That will be increasing the pressure down onto Cryin, of course, and will be potentially giving him the opportunity to get some of these grenades up. But that needs the third EMP, I believe. If there is still one available, let me check. No, there's not. So they need to waste those ADSs first.
And that's it, and that's the next swing in the bout of pressure. They haven't really got that lounge control underneath, so they're a bit cautious at first, but there's the burn, there's two, and there's Cryin just dropping down, could not find safety. The prolonged fire all the way from always on the opposite side connects, and it was a very well put together push. Joystick drops though. Bit of a revenge and a response from Rips through a vertical angle. Aces is waiting to see if somebody drifts over the top, but the pressure's all coming from the other side now as the canister pops. This is now the toughest part for Empire to try and throw themselves through because all of them are stacked on that side. They need a rotation up red. They need to try and draw some of the focus away and see if they can swing through with the confidence. The pings are there and continually the spray through. Finds one, can't find the second. And the diffuser gets picked back up. Rips, goes aggro, sprays onto the first. The pings are coming through. 7 seconds. And there it is. The bait in the play finds the diffuser, just has to wait. He's going down. He drops with the pistol. Cannot connect. Dan clutches with a sliver of time left.
And look at the emotions on the Empire players. They're absolutely thrilled about it, as per usual. Oh, there we go. That was a smile. That was a smile. We saw it. All right.
There's some energy.
There is the energy. It is definitely there. Always is starting to speak up as well. We see the emotion slowly starting to creep out of them.
Never in doubt. That's what their expression is.
That's it. That's
it was never in doubt.
There wasn't even close.
Wasn't even close.
That was all calculated. But there we go. All right, 2-5. And Empire is starting to, well, widen up the gap here, making sure that Rogue doesn't really have the opportunity to climb back into this one, especially not for the 3 points if Empire pick up this next round. It was quite close there. Very good clearance, we have to say, though, on, first of all, the wall, CCTV wall.
And Leon.
And then Leon, who ran back, tried to get to red, but unfortunately the second grenade was too quick for him. But then, of course, as well, onto the rafters, just using those grenades, using the, well, line of sight and the crossfire they had that would try and fall back. He would be picked up as a result. So, very well played from Empire there. And now Rogue up to the basement. But we'll be going for a tall hold. Do see some of these roamers about. Making sure the outside walls on the top floor will be reinforced to make the entry just a little bit harder. And currently, Cryin and Prano, the only two on site.
Now another round that came so close to the wire. Another round that could have been a scratch on the Rogue side there. And, you know, it's always those could have. It means that they're still fighting. And though they're currently sitting on a 5-2, they know that they were able to get so bitterly close in a couple of these rounds and take a couple too with a lot of pace and panache, including a flawless. So it's just finding the way to convert that. It's finding the way to try and rebuild, remantle. They don't feel like taking the tech timeout yet. The official one, not the unofficial one that they took a little bit earlier. They still feel like they can build into this. And, you know, I guess it's seeing how they can, I guess, isolate and disrupt that initial Empire push here as Leon is the one that's being forced further and further away from safety.
Okay, so we did see one of the exothermics being used in CCTV. We're now seeing the Selmas also being used in Jacuzzi Wall. Of course, it will force the Rogue players to fall back. And the question is, will there be any cover? No, there will not be. They'll just fall down one floor. So now they're on the first floor rather than the second. Empire now need to clear out these players as the next couple of steps. But they already used 2 of their pieces, 2 of their 5 pieces of hard breach material. So if they do want to open up these hatches, they need to make sure that they're going to get these kills quickly. And of course, get some ground as well.
Creeping their way through with all the drones leading Joystick potentially towards a fight. He's been able to dig himself into this game better than he has been on the split so far, but at the same time with the work that Dan and Scyther have been doing, he hasn't always had to take every single fight, and that is the difference. Those couple of players that have kept getting aggressive, kept digging themselves in to the approach here. 3 Rogue bodies slip down the stairs, see how they run, They're off to see the armory site, because they need to hold it. 1:20 left on as Joystick steadily tries to careen his way down those core stairs. They're putting as much pressure as possible on the rest of the map, but at this point they realize, okay, we've shepherded them, we've pushed them down. Oh no, wait, have we? Shepard will just catch this on the drone. And Leon isn't aware, but he did, I think, maybe just hear it at the end there. There it is, drops the drone, wanted to try and take the fight, but is going to lean in potentially towards Dan.
Lankwitch is there. Dan is just trying to hold off the angle. Knows that there could be a bit of pressure coming down from blue, but also knows he hasn't fallen back. Yes, spots out the leg onto Aces. Not quite getting the kill, not quite getting the down either, and that gives the opportunity for Leon Gets to try and fall back. Opens up with the Commando 9 here, but not able to quite hit the shots that he wanted. Now with 40 seconds left in the pocket, Empire that's quite close. It's Joystick that gets a wallbang through the bar, and now suddenly there seems to be a bit of an opening here.
As they dig and they push and pressure their way all the way across. Joystick with one more, tries to find the third here on the back of Church and gets it, drops through the back wall. All the focus gone 6 to lock it off. Leon finds Dan and slips for a second back on, but Scyther's there with the cover. It suddenly rips once again in this clutch everything situation. Has to try and take this 2 versus 1. They're going to bait and go for the plant on the opposite side as he slips round onto Church. Opens up a rotation, draws some attention and finds the first fight, slips. But now we're in a post plant. He's going towards the back there. Joystick seems aware. Pre-fires and gets it. Joystick with a 4K to put Empire on map point.
Including one with the Gon 6, and he pulled it out and he's like, do I use this? Yes, I just shoot it. And he gets the kill as a result. And now it's going to be Empire onto match point. Going to be coming up for the full 3. And this is an important match for them as well, Emmy, because it's not just the major that's on the line, but it could be the European finals on the line as well. As they are currently in that 4th to 3rd place. They are the ones in striking distance of teams like Havana. And as the tactical timeout now will be called, you can see that there is some quiet inside of the players, but that's of course due to the coaches that take control in these timeouts, telling exactly what is going wrong in these past 8 rounds we've seen and what they need to improve on for, well, potentially, hopefully for them, the next 4 of them to go to overtime.
It's one of the frustrating things right now for Rogue is what is solid about Empire's play is their holds, is their defenses and their rebuffs. And you can sort of make these big hero plays when you're a team with the skill of Rogue, which is, I know I've already said it a couple of times, but how they were so good on their club last week, or how they were able to win a lot of their rounds on their club last week. Here it's not working because Empire are so finely tuned. They have the angles, they have all the cover, and they have the confidence to sort of say, well, we know that they're there and there, so this is our space, and we can take this, and if they try and come in from here, well, you might die, but we've still got this and this. And that is the problem that Leon and Aces especially are having, trying to find their way through. It's becoming trickier and trickier, and now they've got to see if they can thread 4 defenses in a row. Bitterly close. They've been a couple of times, but close is unfortunately not helping their scoreboard right now.
It's definitely not helping indeed. They need to get these rounds. They need to translate them into rounds. As the clash is being brought out, Prano choosing to go for the shield operator. As we quickly go to the replays, Joystick just starting up with the first, just wall banging through. Heard the smoke canister being tossed out. Great read there. And of course just peeking back, spotting the head of the Jaeger that just fired a couple of shots at him. Just traced the tracers in that case, and then gets swung by the shotgun. Able to get it down, however, really allows him to suddenly have this moment here. Okay, I have the Gun 6. Am I going to be going for that, or am I going to go reload? But he indeed did get the Gun 6 skill there. I'm not sure if we've seen many of them yet in the Pro Leagues.
Probably not.
I don't think we've seen... I didn't see any personally. Of course, it's just a secure. That's a good drone spot that Rips just managed to find there.
So, the clash is that change, is that conversation piece that they've had to try and bring to the table and see if they can stump Empire, who will look at that shield and sort of be... what? As they try and approach and find a way through it and past it here. They've been pretty good at solving some of these questions and the riddles that are put before them, and their hold here, their extension, was where we saw Rogue suffer on this gym and bedroom take before. Let's see if they can, I guess, put the pressure on the Rogue hold sharper than it was put upon them.
See, Leon Gids is now in that position again, on that mirror, where last game he managed to pick up a triple kill onto the Jacuzzi balcony and a double kill on another round of it. So, you know, he probably feels quite confident in set spots, but it's going to be Empire to move up now. They are trying to get a lock on to CCTV first, and after that, head into the construction side. There's going to be multiple ways around it. Probably a player will be going over to the highway as well to put up some extra pressure. As the drones are starting to come in, Cryan holding off on those red stairs is going to be in a very important spot here, but the grenades, they could just be flying in straight away from the other side. And don't forget, there is still the EMPs on the board that could be coming in to disable the clash shield, and as well as the ADSs.
Cryan and Rips trying to hold on to the best of their ability, but they've already lost a lot of walls. Cryan is a bit concerned about the rotation here. Sprayed just underneath as Dan wants to try and creep their way up red. They're going for a split push here. Scyther gets in close, is able to swing around the corner. They're caught out there as that grenade doesn't quite connect all the way. Crying gets the spray, but the follow-up is there from Dan. They're going to try and put this intense pressure on. The Clash is going to try and offer something to Rips to see if they can lead their way back through, but it's a second pickup for Dan, who this game has been so consistent in driving through their opponents right now, finds themselves on a 2.0, but I would not be surprised if we saw even more numbers tacked onto his name.
Yeah, it could definitely go that way, and if you look at the utility still available to Empire, we have 3 grenades they can use. They just need to use them at the right moments. Also still 2 EMPs left. Those could be used to temporarily disable the Clash CCE shield, and with that, of course, has no ability to crowd control. However, next objective will be to get that mirror window secured. Opening comes up on the outside construction wall. It's going to be putting a bit more pressure down onto Aces, as it's very hard to try and challenge from that window. As right now, a lot of the windows and hatches are being challenged here by Empire. Gids needs to stay alive for as long as he can, but it is starting to look quite dire here.
I think Leon just opened the rotation to potentially go and dig underneath. Prano gets dropped from the swing on logistics, and, well, this has just sort of been this game in a nutshell. Empire, with an absolutely clinical take, their holds when they sort of woke up to the pace that Rogue wanted to run this game at were consistent, they were driven, and with some big showings from Scyther and from Dan, they lock themselves out with their probably first convincing win this split.
Yeah, definitely a very convincing win here from the side of Empire. And don't forget Joystick as well, who had some amazing kills. Don't forget the round on defense where he swung around the corner, got the double kill, the quad kill onto the attack they've just managed to have. So all around, good performance from the side of Empire. Dealt with the Clash quite well as well. Just clinically going through. They didn't panic because they saw the shield. They just followed their step-by-step plan. And that means we are also going to be following our step-by-step plan, because we are going over to the desk.
Thanks so much, my friends. Yes, what a game. It started off so well for Rogue, but Empire just